dear friend and a very good leader of our riding for this term of 4 years.
Member
And before that,
Peter
he used to be
Fonseca,
the MPP,
Park
like
Point is
member of
Community
provincial
Organization
parliament
of Canada.
for almost two terms. Before being the federal member of parliament, and he's always been very, very popular especially among the South Asian community, and he loves to attend the events organized by different organizations of South Asian origin. He's always ready to attend, and he's always ready to support and cooperate with any problems, any issues, anything that the community needs. So we would really like to welcome Mr. Peter Fonseca to please come and say a few words.
Well, thank you very much, Tamina. I know she's my great friend because she didn't ask me to sing or do poetry here today. And the singers were wonderful, beautiful music. And I loved it, and it came right from the heart, and how people were singing, and the poetry, I'm sure, was just the same. So I'm delighted to be here for the 72nd Pakistan Independence Day, and I've been here. I think we did it last year and the year before, and this is a wonderful celebration. And of course, Eid Mubarak to everybody from the weekend. And I think about Eid, and when you think about the Prophet Abraham, and when we think about his obedience, and the festival of sacrifice, and how this links really to independence. It links to independence because if you think about it, many of the founders of Pakistan, some of you were there because you're over 72 years of age at the time. Maybe you were little girls and boys at that time. But those founders had to do a lot of hard work, had to sacrifice to have a sovereign country that could set its own direction. And this is very, very important. Same thing here in Canada, of course. We just celebrated a couple of years ago our 150th anniversary. Now we're at 152 this year, also in 2019. So what we celebrate are the values of our country. We celebrate the sacrifices of our forefathers and mothers, those that worked very hard to provide for us in our country the opportunities that then we had for our children, for our families to continue to grow. And Tamina said it best, we are all humans. We are all humans. And if politicians and others, that when they get into a conflict, the best thing to do is sit down and think about ourselves as humans. We are all flesh and blood. We have the same children on both sides of the border. Everybody gets hurt when there is conflict. And the best path forward always, and it has been the Canadian way, has been through diplomacy. To have cooler heads at the table, listening, not just to the politicians and the decision makers, but listening to the people. If you truly listen to the people, you will make the right direction. Yeah. And I believe as Canadians that we are all here, that is what we want to impart on all those that are involved in Kashmir. And I know that that is affecting maybe some of you with your families. But for all of those, and especially those that are at the decision-making table, to use cooler heads, to make sure that we can find a path forward, as Tamina also said. And I want to thank Tamina and Dr. Shaw and Naveed and the board of directors and all of you, because the many events that I have come to, you often talk about how we live here in this country peacefully, the freedoms that we have, the opportunities that we have, and we are truly blessed here to have what we have. And then when we see things happen in other parts of the world like we do today, that makes us feel even more blessed to be in this great country. But what we do ask is that what we have here, to be able to share that with the rest of the world. So I'm hopeful that, as I said, there will be a de-escalation of what we have seen, and people will be able to come together. And again, it is about our humanity. Well, we're here to celebrate Pakistan independence. And I know in Pakistan, I'm sure they're having all sorts of festivities, and there are lights and music, and people are celebrating in many different special ways. And in Canada, we are able to also bring from our motherlands, wherever we have come from, that heritage, that culture, to bring it here, to celebrate that, not just with those that have come from that land, but with all Canadians. And that is, again, what makes us a truly special place. Some of you may know, I also immigrated. I came from a small country, from Portugal at the time. Portugal, too, at the time when I left, or when my parents left with me, was in a dictatorship, and they did not have the ability to be free, to have democracy, to be able to speak their mind. Today they do. That happened in 1975, so I was born in 66. And that was a big celebration, I can tell you, here for the Portuguese community, and continues to be today as they celebrate now that they have their independence, not from a colony, but more from a dictatorship that they had, and they are moving forward in the right direction, because we believe democracy is the best way for the entire world. Thank you very much, everyone. Thank you.